What's going on, everyone? So, usually I put out a breakdown of what the Raptors did during the game, or I pick a player and I break down a um, Raptors game. And so, sorry, there's a little bit of echo here. So, that's what I usually do, but this time around, I mean, I had to do a live reaction. So that was a messed up game by the Raptors. I don't know if anybody was watching that from beginning to end, but I did, and I was waiting for the Raptors to kind of do better come second half, but nothing came out of that. There was nothing that I saw that they did well. I mean, the only thing that I'm looking at the stats here. So the only thing that they actually did well here is they had less turnovers than the Pelicans. So I personally think there's a worst loss of the season versus when they lost against the Cavaliers. I think this one was way worse because they're at full strength. There's no excuse for them to lose by this much. So this was not something that I expect. Their effort was really low, especially coming off a loss uh, by the Nuggets, right? So they lost against the Nuggets. They lost by 1 point. It's a close game. So they did really well against a team like that, and then they come around and against the Pelicans, they're really flat here. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what was going on. I mean, it didn't seem like anybody was really injured. I feel like they just played with low energy. I mean, they're on the road, but still, that doesn't really excuse them from this kind of a loss. I mean, um, they had they had everybody at full strength. It didn't seem like anybody was missing here. Scottie Barnes, OG Ananobi, and Gary Trent Jr. all combined for 14 points. 14 points on what is this? 5 of 35 shooting. 5 of 35 shooting for 3 of our main players, guys that we expect them to score, we want them to score. We are relying on them to put up points on the board, and they didn't. So I don't know what happened in that game. Um, but yeah, there was no reason why the Raptors should have lost by this big. And on top of all that, it wasn't even our bench this time around because you know how Raptors fans are. We always blaming our bench, and understandably so. Throughout the season, we don't have a good bench, and that's what we've been missing. And we thought that we'd add some players to come trade deadline, but the only person that we added was Thaddeus Young, and he didn't really do too well either. So if we're looking at that too, I mean, I know Thaddeus Young just came on board, but look at the flip side in terms of the Pelicans, right? The CJ McCollum just came on board for them, and he's already he's scored 23 points this game, 9 and 13 shooting. He's gotten people involved too, 5 assists. So I hate doing comparisons like that because obviously CJ McCollum is a much more reliable player than Thaddeus Young, but you have Boucher who scored 15 points for the Raptors, and if he hadn't done that, then we probably looking at a bigger loss than what we have here, 30-point loss, right? So there was we played low energy. I still can't believe these stats here. The team stats: 8 assists for the Raptors compared to 36 assists by the Pelicans. So I don't know what happened there. The Pelicans also had 7 blocks to 3, and we just shot terrible. 3-point percentage was 23%. Field goal percentage we were at 30. Um, we just came up very flat. There was nothing for us that we did well, and we're going into Minnesota to to end the first half of the season and going into the All Star break, and that was kind of the disappointing part because Van Vliet and Siakam, who are two best players, they didn't do well, but they were the guys that did all right. I mean, Fred Van Vliet had 20 points, Pascal Siakam had 18, and that was it. And then we just had everybody else just didn't do too well. And then also on top of that, Pascal Siakam had not being called for the All Star game. He didn't get picked up. And James Harden, when James Harden pulled out, and they put Jared Allen instead in the East. and so that was kind of embarrassing too. So all in all, it was a bad game. There wasn't much to it, um, and hopefully that we forget this and we go on. But some crazy stats up in here. So I mean, check out the stat line there, and you'll know what I mean here. All right, guys.